Hey, man.
Yeah.
I know. But I just want to tell you that I'm proud of you. You're doing a good job.
Seriously? You think I don't know what you've been doing this week?
Who, me?
You've been dunking on me every chance you get. I mean, I've been in the room for all of it.
Trust me, no, you haven't.
No, I'm not going to let you get to me.
Get to you. I mean, scoreboard.
I may lose games to you, but you're not going to bury me.
You're kind of buried in the standings.
I may lose 13 straight.
You did lose 13 straight.
But that doesn't mean I can't win 13 straight.
Kinda does.
No, I'm not going to quit. And I'm not going to let people like you get to me. You want to know why?
I love to laugh, so please tell me.
Because me, I'm built different.
Dude, I mean, all jokes aside, we know you're built different. We all do. We can see it.
Really? You do?
Yeah. You're built worse. Way worse. Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team that is a dub. Back on the East Coast, a realistic time of the night for me to still be alive and breathing, and a nice little dub after what I can only explain as an excruciating hockey game. That wasn't pleasant. Let's not lie to ourselves. In a world of entertainment, which hockey is, it's entertainment. That's the business. That was brutal for a large stretch of time. But you can't tell me the last 10 minutes of that game weren't pretty dang intense. That you weren't like, oh, okay, come on. We're not going to lose this, right? I've been dunking on the Sabres this week. Whoops. And I actually kind of forgot we were playing them this weekend. So when I saw the schedule, looked forward a little bit, I went, oh, oops, I just lost us that game. I fully believed we were losing this game. Not because I'm not optimistic or don't believe in the team. It has way more to do with you make fun of something long enough, it's just going to bite you in the butt, right? That's just how life works. I like to pretend it's true that when I say something and I passionately believe it, the opposite is always going to happen. It's true. That's real with me. Everyone thinks it's real with them. No, it's real with me. But the Buffalo Sabres, I'm about to say something about. If you're a Sabres fan, I apologize for what I'm about to say. But I don't think you can argue with me. That team is atrocious. That's awful. I mean, look, the Bruins didn't look good tonight. They did not. And the Bruins, for the first month of the season, looked exactly like that. So feel like I kind of know what I'm talking about right now. That team looks awful. And you can sit there and go, wait, I like Tage Thompson. I like Benson. I like Power. And I like Dahlin, who didn't play. And I like Peterka. I like Tuck. There's a lot of guys on that team. A lot of them. And I'm kind of bleeding into the opponent notes that I put together beforehand. But there's a lot of players on the team that I genuinely like, that I think are good hockey players that I would put on the Bruins tomorrow. Yes, put on the Bruins tomorrow. But as a unit, as a cohesive unit, holy shit, that team is garbaggio. Just awful. That's Italian for garbage. It's really bad. I mean, it's baffling to watch. Their inability to make a tape-to-tape pass, which both teams are doing. Again, like most of this game, both teams looked like they were in the same cellar of the league. It was so baffling to watch the decisions they make, the positioning they have both defensively and offensively, which made the defensive stuff made it fascinating why the Bruins couldn't get pucks to the net because of how often you sat there and there's two Sabres players covering one Bruin. There's a Bruin wide open somewhere. How are we not moving the puck better? But baffling, the decisions that they make. Absolutely flabbergasted at some of the sequences that we saw tonight. That Sabres team, on paper, is not as bad as losing 13 straight. That's right, that was their 13th loss in a row. They're not that bad. Now, the franchise as a whole, yeah, obviously, it's been over a decade of that. But I genuinely feel for Sabres fans. I think I had them ranked. I was high on the Sabres going into the season. Higher even than on the YouTube channel. I think I said somewhere around the middle of the league, like 16th. And then on the short shift pod, I had them making the playoffs. I was like, you know what? I love this forward group. I expected them to bounce back from a down year the year before. I thought UPL was the truth, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I knew that they had weaknesses on the back end, but Owen Power takes a step forward. They have Dahlin. Samuelsson can carry his own. Like Clifton, although he's not an incredible defender, I mean, he was serviceable in Boston. Just enough guys where you're just like, there's a real team here. They made the Savoie for McLeod trade because they wanted to make sure the middle six was difficult to play against, not just flashy and skillful, but difficult to play against. I complimented that for him. I thought it was a bold move. I didn't think the value was the same on each side, but it made sense for the franchise, for them trying to win the right way. And now we sit here. I mean, Thanksgiving, they were well within a playoff spot, if not in a playoff position. Like, they would be in a second wild card spot, but like they were right there. They haven't won since Thanksgiving. They haven't. In fact, when's their next game? It has to. They played yesterday too, so it has to at least be 1 day later. So what's today? Today is the 21st? Yeah, 23rd. I'm pretty sure their last win was the 23rd of November. I'm pretty sure we're going in exactly a month since they've won a hockey game. I mean, I'm spending too much time on this, obviously, but Sabres fans, I'm sorry. If this is what you've been watching every night, my God, that is awful. That's atrocious. When you know the skill is there for some of those guys, no tape to tape, no good puck movement. I mean, the mistakes in your own zone, the mistakes in the neutral zone, the icings that don't need to happen, freezing the puck when it doesn't need to happen. I mean, just so many moments where you go, what are you doing? Like, it was pissing me off. And I'm sitting there watching my own team pissing me off. And I'm still looking over across the aisle and going, oh, gross. God. Man, I feel bad for everyone in that situation, including the players. Yikes. The Buffalo Sabres, let's talk about them a little more. They rank 30th on the power play. You have Tage Thompson on your team, man. How do you rank 30th on the power play? And Dahlin, for that matter. Holy crap. The penalty kill is 23rd. They rank 21st in goals scored per game, which you got to imagine with a better power play jumps up. And then 27th in goals allowed. It's not even like they're getting bad luck. Their PDO is basically at an even 1. It's 998. For those of you who know what that means, I'm not going to get into that right now. But basically their luck factor of it all says, no, this is who they are. That 5-on-5, they're 23rd in expected goals against per game and 18th expected goals for. So at even strength, it's basically right around where they are. They're underperforming a little. But at that point, you're still out of a playoff spot. There are genuine guys on that team I like. How are they this bad? It doesn't help that your starting goaltender in Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is dancing along to an .892 save percentage. Not great, but Swayman has an .887, so what's your excuse, you know? Here's the scariest thing about the Sabres, though, going into this game. It's nothing about their on-ice play. It's that they haven't won in a month. 12 straight losses. It isn't about beating a bad team. It's about losing to one that hasn't won in a month. Genuinely, it's scary going into those games. They're coming off a back-to-back. Their best player is out. Dahlin's out for this. You can't lose this game. I mean, you can. You can. It's hockey. That happens. But you don't want to be the team that broke this streak for them. So thank you, Morgan Geeky, you elite SOB. Like, comment, subscribe. Nailed it. High quality inspectors, thank you so much for all the support that you are giving. You helped me buy Christmas presents this year. Genuinely, I don't know if that sounds douchey, but like that was actually really great because I really needed the help with that. And me and my friends are all like, "Oh, we'll keep the number low." And I still struggled with it. Presents are hard, man. Christmas is difficult. For the Boston Bruins, our lineups are changing. They're doing something I asked them to do, which I'm very excited about. Geeky Zaka Pasta, Marchand Lindholm Coyle. I know I keep swapping those lines. It's supposed to be the other way around, but I just still view the Zaka line as it's frustrating. I don't know why I do this, but I still view the Zaka line as the top line. Brazeau, Frederick, Wallstrom, Beecher, Costello, Kepke, Zadorov, McAvoy, Osterley, Carlo, Lohrei, Peak, and then Korpisalo gets the start. So Hampus is still week to week, I believe. I would love for him to come back tomorrow, but that's not going to happen. They did one of the two things I wanted. Coyle to the wing. It makes sense, and that line looked really good. No Patra call-up, which I feel it could make a big difference, but we're going to talk about that a little later. But I am nervous, and was proven somewhat correct before this game. I am nervous about Frederick, who is vastly underperforming, centering a third line right now, because it felt like he would really struggle to do so. Before we get into the game, though, last little note here. Patra, over the weekend, has taken multiple cheap shots. He has a 9-game point streak right now, and is starting to get kind of some after-the-whistle attention from a few guys. By the way, just reminding everybody, the AHL is not a safer hockey league. I keep seeing this thing about, like, he was getting buried in the NHL. It's faster. It's all this stuff. It is faster. It's a higher skill level. But the AHL is not a safer hockey league. It is a less skilled one. In fact, you have a lot of beefy dudes down there who are, your mid-20s to late 20s, lifers in the AHL, who go seeking heads, fighting, trying to get a call up. It's not a safer league. That's all I'm getting at, okay? We're going to move on. We're going to talk about this game, and puck drops! 6:07 into the first period. Coyle's going to go for tripping, offensive zone penalty. Not a great start, and I was like, oh, Coyle, please have a good game. I've been talking about you on the wing forever. Please have a good game. So, we are going to go to the penalty kill. As the penalty expires, Zadorov's going to make an excellent play here. Zacha's going to create some havoc, which leads to a contested board battle where Zadorov knocks Kulik off the puck and then clears this puck at a perfect angle so that Coyle, who's jumping out of the box at this time, is able to catch up to it, corral it, and goes in on the breakaway. He's going to try to go to backhand, back to forehand, and bury it, but Reimer sticks out the leg. He makes the save. Coyle slides, loses his feet while he is trying that deke. He slides right into Reimer. I thought Brick had an excellent point about this goal because the save is made and Coyle, while he's down there, goes and eventually it gets in right under the pad. Had Reimer been weaker on his pad there, had he allowed the contact to push his pad into the net along with the puck, which you're never going to do as a goaltender. I'm not going to sit here and act like Reimer should have done that because that's not the mentality of a goaltender. The mentality is keep the puck out no matter what. I need to block this off. That's the right response as well because you never know what the call is going to be. But had he moved his leg back and the puck gone in, the goal probably gets waived for pushing the pad in. Either way, it slides under the outstretched leg that never moved because he's got that strength to him. And it's going to be 1-0. An excellent start after a good penalty kill. On the following play, the Sabres, with pressure, perfect pass from the left point to Abe Kubel, who snuck behind Lohrei, and he tips it high glove, and somehow Korpisalo snags it. Ends up being the save of the game on the Nesson broadcast. Excellent save by Korpisalo, who was excellent all night for us. 150, well, mostly excellent all night for us. 154 left. I thought Lindholm got tripped, but it turns out it's a slash on Lindholm because as he was falling, I think he did some stick work there. So we're going to the penalty kill. We do kill it into the second period where 6 seconds left. We kill it there too. 6:07, same exact distance of time from start of period to the first call of the period. Malenstein, is it Malenstein? Is that how you say that? Malentine? Whatever. For high sticking, we're going to the power play. It's another bad power play. What did you expect? 8:52 left. Power is going to go for tripping Brazeau. We're going to the power play. Nothing on the power play. And Brazeau, drawing penalties, creating havoc in front of the net. Another good game by him. Even on that third line that really, really, really underperformed, I never looked at it as like a Brazeau issue. That line got absolutely buried, which we'll talk about. But Brazeau wasn't part of the problem there. Anyway, we don't do anything with the power play. At about the 6-minute mark, the Bruins get pinned into their zone for nearly 3 minutes. I mean, This was tough. The fourth line's out there, an Osterley-Carlo pair. And I actually didn't even think that the line itself or the pairing behind them was the problem. There weren't like a bunch of failed clearances or anything like that. As the shift continued, they clearly were losing steam in their legs. It was getting harder and harder to catch pucks, and they were getting further and farther from them. So it just kind of kept building on itself. Every hockey team has to survive moments like this, even against a team who has lost 12 straight. And they just gutted this out. Blocking shots, getting into lanes, not giving anything easy on Korpisalo. I was just really impressed, and I want to compliment them that. It's a bad shift. You get stuck in your zone for minutes on end, but I'd rather give some positive vibes to it, where they just gutted it out and managed to finally get the clear. Had to ice it a couple times to do so, but finally got the change out that they needed. I mean, you do what you can. You got to survive that push, and they did. 2:52 left. Wahlstrom for hooking. We're going to the penalty kill. And with about 40 seconds left of that penalty kill, the Sabres clear it into our zone. Clear it, dump it into our zone. And McAvoy gets there first. And rather than just swiping this around the wall to keep the puck moving, it looks like he tries to corral it, maybe tries to pin it initially, but he has Zucker on his back. He gets driven into the boards, and as he gets driven in, I'm not sure if this is even intentional, but he tries to push the puck back to Osterley, who's sort of at the bottom of that left circle, but more towards the net. Osterley's not quick on this, but he does go for it. It's not even Osterley. I think my memory's wrong. I think this is Peak. It's penalty kill. This is Peak. Peak goes for it. Zucker manages to swipe the puck as well after spinning around. That puck off the ricochet there is going to get all the way to Peterka at the high slot, and he is going to hammer this. Blocker side. Korpisalo gets a lot. Doesn't get enough. And it's going to be 1-1 on a power play goal. Don't love McAvoy's play here. Kind of wish Peak was a little stronger on this as well. Korpisalo probably wants that one back, but he really did have an excellent game. You don't love that goal, but he was fighting through a lot there. Don't love the turnover. I don't know. I have a hard time really blaming Korpisalo. I really like Peterka. I think Peterka should be having a better year than he's having, but it is what it is. So 1-1 on a power play goal. We're going to the third period. We're tied with the Buffalo Sabres, who have lost 12 straight, who are missing their best player in Dahlin, and who are on the second night of a back-to-back. We have 11 shots on net so far through 2 periods. It was a really bad game. That's with 2 power play opportunities, too. It was a really bad game. There's no way around that. And I just can't... I didn't even mention this. This is something that, if you're new to hockey, there's going to be a theme you're going to get used to, which is after a long road trip, 4 or 5 game road trip, especially out west, or outside the country for your team, whatever your team may be. You're going to find that first game at home where everyone's like, oh, finally back home, let's see this team perform to their best. It's actually one of the bigger letdown games. It's almost like every long road trip has one extra game to it, which is your first home game after it. It's almost like everyone relaxes a little bit and they just struggle to get the energy up, you know? Either way, we're going to wave it away. Third period. Win the period, win the game. That simple. 3:10 in. Lindholm with the puck on his stick. Minimal pressure in the slot, opts for a pass to a covered Marchand rather than just shoot the damn puck from the middle of the slot. You have 11 shots on net, dude. 12 at this time, I think. Shoot the damn thing. What are you doing? 7:18 in. After the Bruins are lucky to escape what looks like a forming 2-on-1 where the puck just eludes the Sabres by enough to help us recollect. The puck is going to be sent up into the neutral zone, and Morgan Geekie is going to take the blue line. Owen Power allows him to take the blue line with no pressure. And Morgan Geekie is going to skate up to the inside top of that right circle. Still, not really pressure. Power finally stops and takes a step forward. Geekie's going to hammer this. Not hammer. Strong wrist shot. High glove. And he beats Reimer. And it's 2-1. There's an offsides challenge. Pasternak is inexplicably offsides for no reason. I mean, I could not give you... Geekie didn't make a move on the line. He didn't slow up. He didn't have pressure pushing him any one way or another. Now, Pasternak has no effect on this play whatsoever. At all. But he's clearly offsides on an entrance that you just never should be. They challenge. Goal gets taken back. I hate that, right? He had no effect on the play. But at the end of the day, Pasternak, why the hell are you offsides? Pasternak had 2 assists. He was brutal this game. Brutal. I'm not a Pasternak hater. He's the best player on our team. I really love Pasternak. Do not get me wrong. I don't co-sign all this Pasternak hate. I know that there's players or fans who have issues with him. But whatever is, this is a game note that I'm just getting to now. Whatever is bugging him, whatever injury he was talking about, if it's still whatever it is, it's got him at best at 70%. He is just not the same right now. He's still racking up points, but he is struggling with his skating, with his, endurance. It's like he takes breaks halfway through shifts. He's always been that type of guy to look more aloof and everything. God, there's just a really low energy to him right now, and it is tough to watch, and that is an inexcusable play. Really bad. Anyway, stays 1-1. Also, not for nothing, Owen Power, this is why you don't just give up the blue line. I was pulling my hair out through the first month of the season, how often the Bruins just backed up and let them come in over and over again. I mentioned it in 1,000 videos. Just why you don't do that. If your goaltending has not been great, which the Bruins can learn from this too, because our goaltending genuinely hasn't been excellent, stop just giving up the blue line. Meet them there. If Owen Power pressures him just a little bit there, ignoring the Pastrnak offsides thing, that shot's just not clean. Also, Power, you're a better skater than Morgan Geekie. You're not worried about him just flying past you. There has to be a better play to make there than just backing all the way up to the middle of the slot. Has to be. I know now I'm just criticizing the Sabres, and this is a Bruins channel, but it's a great example for why you get so frustrated with the Bruins when they just back off. If it's a 3-on-2, that's different. 2-on-1, I get it. But when it's a 2-on-2, you have to pressure. You don't have to be on top of them. You don't have to have forward momentum that allows them to go around you easily, but you do have to pressure a little. You can't just give it up. We'll move on. 3:45 left. Wahlstrom, tripped by Lafferty. We're going to the power play. It's so stagnant. They don't move. They don't recover pucks. They don't create lanes. Nothing. It's stagnant and it sucks. But when they move, they get chances. And there was little spurts, there's little movements of movement where they got a couple chances. Nothing really coming from them, though. And with about 20 seconds left of the power play, Lori gets the puck up on the blue line, tries to make a move, it gets poked away from him into the neutral zone. And we all just go, oh, okay. Lori, dude, all of you. Lori recovers, and he pushes the puck over to Pastrnak on that right wall, who's going to take the blue line, and everyone's going to come in together. And there's movement. Everyone's skating. And Pasta skates down into that right circle and sees that Morgan Geekie, again, is skating into the high slot, diagonal backwards pass. Geekie unloads on this high middle of the bar. It's a goal. Reimer's on his belly. Reimer's on his belly because Brazeau looks like he took his leg out with his own leg. But Brazeau got knocked down on the play into Reimer by a Sabres defenseman. Long pause. They don't challenge. Which I thought was weird. Because in a game with, there was 1 second left on the power play when we scored that. So a game with $1:40 left in it. And you have a chance to call for a goal. Yes, if you lose that challenge, then you're on the penalty kill for the rest of the game. So I understand that aspect of it. But did you really believe you were scoring the next minute 45? Did you feel good about that rather than just take your chances with this challenge? I don't know. I think I would have challenged it. I genuinely think it was not goaltender interference because of the knockdown. But with the way the refs have called it previously, I feel like you have a better chance of them waving the goal off than you do score in the next minute 45 seconds. Right? I don't know. Either way, they pull Reimer directly off the next face-off, and Marchand is going to get an empty netter with about 50 seconds left. That's one of Pasternak's assists as well. Dumb. Game notes. I love Coyle on the wing. I really do. I thought that line performed well. I thought it looked good, and I think he's just going to get better there. He's a top six player. He really is. Like he's a middle six player, and he's probably a third liner on like a true championship contender. But on this Boston Bruins team, he is a top six player. I know that our bottom six got caved in this game. They really did. They got beat bad, particularly the Brazeau, Frederick, Wahlstrom line. Brazeau made more of his impacts on special teams than he did in the 5-on-5, although he was the one from that line I thought looked best. That being said, Trent Frederick, he's struggling. We know he's struggling. It's well documented. People want to talk about the fact that he's playing center to raise his own value for a trade. When people wanted to talk about that, it makes some sense. I get it. That being said, I'm just going to keep saying that being said so I can continue with the same thought. You have a center who is NHL caliber, who is currently on a 9-game point streak with 13 points in 9 games, unless he's scored again while we were talking about this. I don't think he did. But he's playing in the AHL. And he's an NHL player. And I just refuse, after watching a couple of the hits that he took this weekend, I just refuse to have the conversation anymore about he needs to be protected from heavy hits, and that's why he's in the AHL to grow into a full-size man. He's taking just as much abuse down there as he is up in the NHL. It's just a lower skill league, and he gets a little more room in those scoring opportunities to actually finish a play. But the after whistle stuff, and when he does get caught on the ice, I mean, the dude gets buried. He gets buried, and he's taking cheap shots now because he's clearly the best player on the ice. I don't understand why you wouldn't bring Patra up at this point. And you could have him between Brazeau and Wahlstrom, or if you wanted to keep Frederick's value as high as possible, you put him between Frederick and Wahlstrom. Unfortunately, Brazeau would be moved to the fourth, something along those lines. I'm really comfortable with any of the 3 guys on the third line getting moved to the fourth line and bumping Koepke out. But my goodness, what a waste of talent that you have down there right now, and you consistently have a line underperforming. This guy could help. He could help right now. You're trying to win games right now. Bring Patra up. Doesn't seem that complicated to me. I already mentioned the Pasta 70% thing. I just think that's where he's at. I do not think this guy's healthy. It's too night and day here. The last game note is a positive one. The role players on this team right now are really helping to win games. I mean, the defense has been good. Zadorov has looked better. I mean, he had a really good game tonight. I know, like 2 videos ago, I just dunked all over Zadorov. So I'm not saying he's like looked great for a few weeks, but he's definitely had a nice game tonight. Carlo's still struggling. I know the stat cards say something else, but I don't know, man. I'm feeling like an old head here, just being like, the stats, the analytics don't mean anything. They do. Just having a hard time matching that with what I think I'm seeing, you know? So there's certain guys that aren't like at that level, but the role players, particularly offensively, are helping to win games. Geeky has 3 goals in the last 4 games. Probably should have had another goal this game, considering Pasta being offsides for no reason. If you can cycle hot and cold streaks through your role players, I mean, that makes this team kind of dangerous. Not offensively dangerous, but if the defense is what we think it should be, then it's pretty hard to beat this team if they're not giving up much. Because if Geeky gets hot, and, you know, Frederick is cold, and then Frederick gets hot, and then Geeky goes cold, but you still have that role player who's still putting pucks in the net. Brazeau gets hot for a couple games, all those guys go cold. Whatever it is. Marchand's up to like a 9-game point streak or something ridiculous. Pasta keeps getting on the board. I mean, you feel good about that. You feel really good about that. If you can have the role players just helping a little, it makes a huge difference. We'll take the win. It was an ugly win. It was not a very entertaining game until the end, but you take them how you can get them. Go Bees. Go Bees! And now it's time to say thank you to the high-quality inspectors. I appreciate each and every one of you. There's over 100 of you at this point. And I love doing these thank yous at the end, but I think we're reaching such a volume that I have to rethink this strategy because you're all so incredible and so supportive. But this is getting really long, and there's got to be a better way, right? But let's start the thank yous, of course, with the top line tier. Dampen, Chris and Erica, Negev79, Trial Exotic, Jeff McGugan, Brad Yaati, Andrew Peterson, Zenon Noel DeGuy, Donald Shelton, Anakin Palpatine, The Rat 63, Lola Cattingsworth, EKM Productions, Moonlighter TV, Big Bad Bruin, The Bugman, Adam Ella, Jeff with a G, Tommy Braga, Roland 22, GD Viperworks, Len Cruz, Brock Nope, Han Slomo, Coach D, The Atomic Lizard, Bradley Johnson, Brett Arney, Pincent, and Nick Zatrullo. Thank you so much, each and every one of you. You're absolute legends of this channel, and you're very appreciated. And now, of course, to our all-star tier members. Lorenzo Wood, Jake Brower, Penny Pasta, Levi Catalani, Boston Stringler, Bagel, Jacob Pratt, Nightmare Eco, John Kirk, Ann Hustis, Joel, Hyle E. Coyote, Darren Woodbury, Abraxion, Michael DePaulo, Wolf Warrior, Vinny, Adrian Winter, Tupton D. Tashi, Bruin Smash, DeKingery, The Only Newts, A Tasty Snack, Doots42, and Jeremy. Absolute stallions, every single one. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for being a part of the channel. I cannot express my gratitude. Go Bees.